Having looked at how we apply a UVW map modifier to our geometry, and having considered a number of the mapping types that control how coordinates are applied or projected, let's take a look in this video at some of the extra controls made available to us for affecting how our mapping coordinates are working. First of all, we have the ability to resize our UVW gizmo by means of the length, width and height spinners that we see here. Obviously, as we are currently projecting in planar mode here, only two of the three parameters are available, as the height or depth parameter, as we may prefer to think of it, has no corresponding axis on a 2D shape. If I switch to box though, you can see that we do indeed have the option to control that parameter. We also have the ability on the UVW map modifier to tile our texture interactively. As we do so, it may appear as if we are performing the same operation as per our changing the length and width parameters. Whilst optically similar though, the two are in fact quite different. When we change the length and width parameters of the mapping gizmo, either by means of the spinners here, as we have done, or indeed by scaling at the subobject level, we are in fact changing the percentage of the 0 to 1 UVW space that is being mapped to the geometry's surface. When we use the modifier's tiling parameter, however, we are instead telling the applied texture map how many times we want it to repeat inside the existing 0 to 1 UV space, which of course itself is remaining fixed in place. Another way we could handle the tiling of our maps can be found in the material editor itself, as all of 3ds Max's map types have a tiling control. The advantage to doing things here in the UVW map modifier, however, is the fact that we can be a little bit more selective. Rather than globally affecting the tiling of every object using a particular material, we can instead change things selectively by applying and setting the tiling in map modifiers only where they are needed. Now, we have already mentioned that we are going to be taking a look at the real-world map size option a little later on, and indeed we are going to be doing the same for the map channel control that we see here. Given that both of these are extremely important controls and can affect the quality and usability of our mapping in a big way, this seems only sensible. We can skip over the map channel control for now then, and take a look instead at our alignment options. For those who prefer interactive control, as opposed to using spinners and typing in values that is, the alignment section gives the option of using manipulators for setting the scale of UVW mapping along each of an object's X, Y and Z or Z axes. If I just click to turn this on, you can see up on the main toolbar that our Select and Manipulate tool becomes active, meaning I can now click and drag to set the mapping scale for the selected axis. Personally, I rarely recommend this particular way of interacting with the mapping gizmo, as it can be quite confusing until you have taken the time to get used to it. It is also just a little too easy to get things good and messed up for my liking. Still, given that artists all work in different ways, it is an option that can be used if, as I say, you prefer to work with this kind of interactive system. That having been said though, if hands-on interactivity is how you prefer to work, in our next video we are going to be taking a look at how we can use the UVW Map's subobject gizmo as a means of affecting the way in which our mapping coordinates are working.